we're looking at question 3.4, and this question 3.4 is, and this is quite a nice one. Let me tell you, if there are learners out there who don't get all excited about forensic sort of science after looking at these questions, I don't know. I mean, this is like CSI in our own backyard. So a woman is found stabbed to death in a hotel. So she is dead. Call in our guys. The police found a few strands of hair in one of her hands. Aha. So you're not going to pull your own hair out. Clearly it is from the guys who attacked her or girls who attacked her. There was also skin tissue under her long nails. And the story gets more interesting. Forensic scientists took blood samples from 3 suspects. So we've got blood samples from 3 suspects to compile DNA fingerprints. So now we know there are things going down. This is CSI. DNA fingerprints were also compiled from the victim's blood and hair and skin tissue found in the victim's hands. So the following diagram shows the DNA fingerprints of the hair sample, the skin sample, okay, so the tissue, and the blood from the victim and the 3 suspects. So what are we going to try and do now? We're going to try and line them up. People, you do not do a question like this without having a very, very, very sturdy ruler in your little hands. So I don't have a ruler, so in the absence of a ruler, I'm going to take paper and I'm going to put the paper across the screen. Every one of these lines here is a marker, and you have to make sure that your markers are the same. Now, in any sample, they're going to look for approximately 4 to 6 similarities. So the first thing we're going to do is look here. We've got that tiny little piece of skin there and that tiny little piece there. We've got the skin here and we have the skin here. So already suspect 1 is looking very, very suspicious. Now let's go with the skin though. So we're matching the skin up. There's our second marker, at least our second marker, our third marker, our fourth marker, our fifth marker, and oh boy, it just keeps getting better. So just by at a glance here, this skin that was under her fingernails is and belongs to suspect 1. So already suspect 1 sits here. This pen is so hard to write with. You're going to have to bear with me here. Okay? Then we have a look. Now we need to pick up the hair and we need to look at the victim and whatever blood. So the hair she pulled out, well, it doesn't match with suspect 1 or 2 and not there either. And well, that's a bit of a problem there too. But look at this here. We have this marker here. Let's do a different color. This marker here we find in suspect 2 and in suspect 3. And whoa, look at this. Suspect, the hair marker there, we find in suspect 2 and suspect 3. But look at this. It's the same as the victor, the hair there, or the marker is slightly lower down. That is similar. And look at this here. So the victim and the suspect are also going to be the same. So let's put a little line across there. And here again, the hair sample and suspect 3. So people, we're starting to see something here. What do you think we are seeing? We are actually identifying that there could possibly have been 2 people involved in this whole process. So, did the DNA from the hair and skin, the hair and skin, underline words during your exam questions? Or look at your questions and underline them. What it does is it helps your brain to pull out a file and it says, okay, we are now specifically looking for this. Don't give answers that are irrelevant. Answer the actual question. So, did the DNA from the hair and the skin tissue come from the same person? So, we know the skin came from one person and the hair definitely came not from the same person, from a different person. So, did it come from the same person? No. What conclusion can you make from question 341 about the possible number of people involved in this murder? Well, we can, and they want to know the conclusion, you can say, it can be concluded that there were more than one person, or there was more than one person, that there was, I was going to say that there were two people or more, that there was more than one person involved. Okay, how do we know this? Because from the skin sample, suspect 1, and from the hair sample, suspect 3. Which of the 3 suspects might have been involved in the murder? And here we can say victim, at least suspect 2, and at least suspect 1 and suspect 3. 1 and suspect 3. Okay? Again, as we've explained, skin sample, hair sample. And where did she get the skin and the hair from other than from her attackers? Now, one could argue in a court of law that, you know what, she could have been with this person and that's why she had hair on her hands. Give a reason for your answer to question 3.4. Because there are more than 4 markers that are the same. Okay, there are 4 markers that are more than 4 that are the same. And if we look back here again, here we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 markers that were, and this last one is 6 that were the same here. And for this victim, at least for this one, I actually stopped making the ticks because that was the same, that was the same, this was the same. It was absolutely identical. So it definitely is suspect 1 skin, and it most certainly can be said that it is suspect 3. So do you think that DNA evidence on its own is enough to convict a suspect? Now, people, be careful here. They're asking you what you think, and you need to back up because the very next question says give a reason for your answer. So if you say that DNA evidence is enough to convict a suspect, then yes, it is. I think it is. Then you've got to say why. Because no 2 people on this earth have the same DNA. Okay, or the same DNA markers. No 2 people on this planet. Even identical twins, there are very, very, very slight differences. Okay, their fingerprints aren't the same, for one. Their eyes aren't the same. There will be something that will be different somewhere if you really look hard enough. So you could say that. If you say, I don't think DNA evidence is enough to convict somebody, you could say, give a reason for your answer, because this victim could have maybe been involved with suspect 3, and that is why she had suspect 3's hair in her hand. Or somebody could have planted the hair there. So it's not 100% certain that if it was in her hand or under her nails, that it came from the suspect. And any good lawyer, if we really get technical, will fight that in a court of law. So that would be your answer there. Explain whether the collection of DNA from every citizen in South Africa to create a DNA fingerprint database is a good idea or not. Now, I can give you my honest to goodness opinion here, that, or view, that no way will people agree to this. They have problems in the United States and in the UK to get people to undergo DNA fingerprinting. You know, like they're taking our fingerprints for, when you do your ID book, they take your fingerprints. And if you apply for all kinds of licenses, they take your fingerprints as well. But to take your DNA fingerprint is going to be something really, really personal. And people just won't, because they'll say it goes against our constitutional rights. Nobody has the right to that fingerprint because it's part of our makeup. So you would have to there say, I don't think it would be a good idea because I think it would go against, it would cause discrimination of people. It would mean that everybody and anybody would have to give up and make themselves available for DNA fingerprinting. You can say that you'd need a really large database, and it would depend on who looks after that database. Whatever reason you give, make sure that you are able to verify what you are saying and why that is your opinion, all right? Okay, people, so it's as simple as that. Whether it would be possible, yes, it would, but do you agree with it? No. Or, I don't agree with it because, boom, boom, boom. Or, we agree with it because, boom, boom, boom. All right. Again, please make sure that you don't just give wishy-washy answers. Give a solid answer and say no, because the data, it would depend on how well the database is maintained. Can you imagine if there is a mess up with that database and your DNA fingerprint is matched up with some murderer, or murder that's taken place, and the next thing, choops, you're in jail. So we'd have to make sure that it was really done properly. And that, I think, would be the biggest problem.